This is Lehigh Valley Political Pulse. I'm Tom Shortell. Each week, political scientist Chris Borick joins me to discuss the latest scientific-based research related to public opinion. We dive into the local, state, and national levels and what it all means for you. Chris, last week you released a statewide poll with Muhlenberg College. It found Kamala Harris and Donald Trump in a dead heat here in Pennsylvania. How surprising is it given the state's recent voting record? Pennsylvania has voted Democrat in 7 of the last 10 presidential elections.
Yeah, it's a great question, Tom. Presidential elections are different than other statewide elections. It's just the nature of Pennsylvania, especially during the era of Donald Trump. If you look back to 2016, the two kind of high water marks, if you will, for Republicans in really high-profile races, governor, Senate, president races, has been Donald Trump's victory in 2016 and his near victory, lost by a little over a point in 2020. So in those races, we see extremely close competition in Pennsylvania, and lo and behold, in our latest poll, we find exactly that, a dead heat running in the state, and a lot of other polls apparently are seeing very similar results right now. And sometimes I am surprised by one of our poll results. When we get the final numbers, I say, wow, that didn't kind of jive with what I was anticipating. This time it jived, and it jived in a big way. I think it is really that close.
So you're talking about those other polls that have come out. That was something I was prepared to talk about here. Most of them very similar, maybe a point one way or the other. But there have been some other ones too. Like one recently came out that found Donald Trump up 3 points. Others have found Kamala Harris up by as much as 5 points. What gives?
Yeah. Now, first of all, that couple points either way is just part of polling. We've talked about this last week, and the audience should always anticipate that. If we were 2 points towards Harris, 2 points towards Trump in this latest poll, again, it would tell me it's a really, really close race. And that's just sampling error, right? That's just the nature of sampling. You're going to be off by a couple points anytime you're taking a small group to think about a big group. So people should not, I think that the anticipation is, wow, if a poll finds Trump up 2 or Harris up 2 or 3, that somehow something just dramatically different is being measured. And the reality, it's not. It's saying that it's pretty close. And a couple points either way is just within the margin of error. This is what we can anticipate. So it's tight, it's tight, it's tight.
Let's shift to the U.S. Senate race, which was also part of that survey you conducted. Your poll and most others have found incumbent Bob Casey ahead of challenger Dave McCormick. Yours was within the margin of error, but others have been kind of right at the precipice there, or Casey just beyond that. Is there a clear sense as to why Casey seems to be polling ahead of the presidential?
Yeah, he has polled ahead almost through all. Of course, when Biden was on the ticket, he was well ahead at that time in terms of his race compared to Biden's gap, if you will, in his. This race, as you mentioned, Tom, we have it in mid-single digits. I think lots of other polls are pointing in that around that 5 to 7 point range. You have some that have shown it a little bit closer, but on average, it's in that mid-single digits, which would mark the closest race by far for Senator Casey in all of his races. He's run. This is the 4th time he's run. On average, he's won by double digits, like mid-double digits in those races. So if we're looking at a 5-point lead or so, 5 to 7 point lead, that's significantly less, which is testament to the type of racing and the competitive nature of this. Dave McCormick, I think, has some advantages that other Republicans that he's run against didn't have, but certainly it's a more competitive race and probably the most competitive that Bob Casey has faced.
That's political scientist Chris Borick. This has been Lehigh Valley Political Pulse. I'm Tom Shortell. For an extended version of this interview, visit LehighValleyNews.com.